Hari Om. Good evening. A very warm welcome to all of you. Please come. Let's pray with all our heart and seek His blessings. Asato ma sadgamaya tamaso ma jyotirgamaya mrityorma amrutam gamaya sahana vavatu sahanau bhunattu sahaviryam karamavahai tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Tat Sat. Shri Chinmaya Sadgurave Namaha. Together, we offer our humble salutations to the Almighty, to that Lord who has the divine names Narayana and Naraha. To seek His grace, His blessings, His mercy, His forgiveness, His strength, His love, His compassion. We also seek from Him His Shraddha, Bhakti, Jnana and Vairagya. O Lord, please bestow upon us these divine qualities, only and only to have the aparoksha anubhuti of Thy true self. We humbly beseech in You that at the end of our lives, please bless us that we reach Your holy feet. Om Tat Sat. Today, we are, with the blessings of the Divine and the Guru Parampara, we are on our Divine Discourse number 287 on the 21st of June 2022. Swasti Shri Shubhakrat Nama Samvatsar Uttarayan Grishma Rutu Jeshtamas Krishna Paksh Ashtami Uttara Bhadra Nakshatra Ayushman Yoge Balavakarane. On this auspicious day of Tuesday and the auspicious time of the evening, we all take a firm resolve that whatever is happening to us in our lives, every incident, every situation, every circumstance, be it through a person, an object, or a place, is only and only to uplift my life from the ocean of birth and death. With all conviction, I understand that it's the God's play, and I completely surrender and accept each and every incident in my life. I would live a life without any complaints, with a smile and with peace. Our humble salutations to the Guru Parampara. Om Tat Sat. Good evening, everybody. A very warm welcome to all of you. So now we are on a journey studying the 14th chapter, where the Lord is trying to now release us from the last set of bondage. See, there were so many locks. Now, these three gunas are said to be the most important and deadliest lock, they say. The reason is, somebody is, let's say, is in Sattva Gun, extremely good person, a very noble person, a very pious person, a very kind-hearted person, a down-to-earth person. You can add these qualities, many more, whatever you know. Now, as far as he is in this state of mind, he is bound by peace. He is bound by serenity. And he has the feeling that I am peaceful, I am happy, I am good, I am generous. So now everywhere he has this understanding of this me and the quality. So he is in that bandha, they say. He is in that bondage. Because he is still in that I. So this is a very subtle point, which only the rare few, where we get this knowledge, we are able to cross over. He says, oh, this is not the destination. It looks like, to everybody else, it looks, if I have led a life like this, I think I am done in life. I will be gaining the highest worlds. That is the wrong understanding. There is something beyond this. So now we are going to learn today how one can be released from these three gunas. So in the 19th verse, Lord Krishna gives us the technique. See, there are several techniques to this, which we will be time and again discussing. So whatever suits you, you can catch hold of that technique and practice one technique. But master one. Don't try to be trying to do everything. For the sake of trial, yes. But eventually to master, you have to catch hold of one particular technique. So now we'll understand what he says and we master it. Okay. Now I'll just give you a recap of what we studied in the last three verses. 16, 15 and 14. Today we'll start with 17. So, in verse 14 he says, like what happens to a soul when they die with a particular quality in a predominant state. Okay? So when a person dies with sattva in a predominant state, there he says that this particular jiva will reach pure abodes in the sense where there is no rajas and tamas. In short, it is higher lokas. Okay? And those who die in Rajas are again born among people where they are completely driven in work. Work means the activity, the mode of Rajas. And those who die in the mode of Tamas, they will be going into the lower species in terms of animals, insects, worms, birds, this kind of a creature. So now we got to know, which means if you carefully observe, all these three modes are not taking you to the Lord. They are taking you to different places, that's all, but not to the Almighty. That is one thing which we need to understand over here. Now, in the 16th verse, he says very emphatically, if you are in a mode of sattva, then you will have the feeling of goodness always. That kind of a nirmalatvat. Nirmalatvat is where you feel pure, you feel serene. And if you're in Rajas, he says, you will always be in pain, dukkha. And if you are in the mode of tamas, then he says, it is always darkness. Darkness means ignorance. So this is what they have explained in the previous verses. Now, let's go to verse 17 and understand what the Lord says. I'll post the shloka for you. Shri Bhagavan Uvacha Sattvat Sanjayate Jnanam Rajaso Lobha Evacha Pramadamohau Tamasaha Bhavato Jnanamevacha. Here, what is mentioned out here is Sattvat Sanjayate Jnanam. Where there is Sattva Guna, then there predominantly there are chances for gaining knowledge. Why? The important feature or prominence of Sattva Guna is Nirmalam, being peaceful and tranquil, serene. And only in such a state of mind, then you have the creative thoughts, Naipunyam, you have skills, you have positive emotions. All these are possible in Sattva Guna. So think for yourself, where do these originate? Only where the mind is calm and peaceful. So only when your mind and intellect is in that perfect alignment, then only such thoughts of learning or teaching will arise. For example, if you have come to talk on a given subject and your mind is agitated, your mind is tensed, it is stressed, or it is preoccupied with some kind of a distortion in you. Now, just think for yourself, will you be able to deliver the quality of speech meaningfully which you had anticipated? Definitely not. Because suddenly you had prepared well, you wanted to convey a very good message in the most elucidate manner, but on the way something came up, some thought came or a phone call came or some news came and you got agitated. So from the sattva state, what happened is you slowly shifted down to the state of rajas. So even if we try to speak being in a state of agitation and stress, our words will flow or be in a state of disharmony and unconvincing. So even our thought process will not cooperate in the delivery of your discourse. Like in my own personal case, I have to mention, when after the lockdown was cleared and you again you had to attend to business and things like that, initially it was very difficult, because now on the day of the discourse you are preparing yourself, you are doing your research, compiling data, getting all the information and trying to put it in the best manner which is presentable. Now on those days in between, if you are getting calls, business calls, naturally business is no fun or no easy cakewalk. There are a lot of untoward things which happen. So that puts you into a state of turmoil. And I could see that those ups and downs was affecting. So then immediately what I did was, on the day of the discourse and when I am preparing myself, I made it clear that I am completely disconnected from the world. Very important, that too personal calls, which is very important. Otherwise, no calls at all, because every discussion has an impact on your mind. So you have to switch off from the world. Mind is such. It always keeps wavering. Wherever you take it, it goes. But since now we know the difference of how it behaves being in sattva, rajas and tamas, we have a choice. So to be always calm, peaceful, serene, one has to definitely not be in this state. So this is what we have to understand over here. Because in sattva knowledge is grasped very clearly. Everything is understood in the right sense. In rajas, what happens? Knowledge is asambhavana or abhavana, what we call. It is confusing. The same knowledge, when you are in a mode of sattva, you grasp it well. And when you are in a mode of rajas, you start getting doubts. Unnecessary. Why? Because your mind is confused. Nothing different. The same knowledge, if your mind was stable, you would have got it very well. And in tamas, what happens? It is like viparita bhavana. Viparita bhavana means you completely understand it in a different way. So that's the reason whenever I also advise you all, like this 10 minutes of chanting, what we do is to calm our mind down. Wherever state you are, because we all have been in some activity or the other, we have to ensure that from that rajas and tamas activity, we have to come to the sattva guna state. So that's the reason this 10 minutes of Gita listening, the chanting, and then again some 5 minutes of prayer. By the 10 to 15 minutes, your mind is completely settled. You can try for yourself. In between there is a call, let's say. You have been listening and understanding carefully and it's all going well. Suddenly a call comes and then you see your level of concentration. You attend the call. Now what happened? You said, no, it was important. I took the call and there you're gone. Your mind is gone. So these are small things to get the best out of what we are doing, especially this divine knowledge. Your mind has to be in the sattva state. That's why it is always advised to listen first thing in the morning. 1. Second, or even if it is during the day, you have to completely cut off from the world and then only listen. Ensure one thing for sure, that your mind is in this sattva guna, then only you will get the best of what is told over here. These are some tips, what we call. Okay. Now, moving on. Here, the same thing, like in fact, my guru also used to tell us that when you teach, it is not sufficient that your listeners are happy and convinced with you, with your talks. He added saying, you also should be convinced and feel that extra level of clarity entering in your mind. Then only you have done your duty appropriately, is to say. Otherwise it becomes just a rhetoric, just for the sake of saying. You said something, they listened, and you will not see much change in their behavior. What is important is the understanding, the right understanding should bring the right change in the person. When that happens, then the whole sequence is in place. Otherwise, it just becomes just another rhetoric or a commercial activity. So, a basic feature of a sattvic is that mental poise and lack of excitement. Excitement comes when you are in a rajasic mode. When you are in a sattvic mode, this doesn't come. So, like Ramayana teaches us about this sattva, rajas, tamas and the life principles in a numerical puzzle. Like as we have puzzles, this is about numbers. So Ramayana tells, so there it is said, okay, tell us Ramayana in numbers. There are two. One is to be killed and one is to be alive. Okay, this is the first question. Second question is, there are three. Two are to be killed, two are to die rather, and one is alive. So in the first one, what happens? One is alive, one dies. Second one, there are three, two die and one is alive. And the next one is, there are four and all have to be alive. Now how do you depict Ramayana now in this puzzle game? So the first answer here is, two. Who are the two? Vali and Sugriva. One is to die, one is to be alive. Means Vali has to die and Sugriva has to be alive. Next, there are three, out of which two are to die and one is alive. So Ravana, Kumbhakarna and Vibhishana are the three. Ravana and Kumbhakarna die and Vibhishana, who is the third brother, he lives. Now, next are the four. Who are these four? All are alive. Rama, Lakshmana, Bharata and Shatrughna all have to live. Now here they connect to the Ramayana to our Adhyatmika Shastra, and they say these four, they denote Dharma, Artha, Kama and Moksha. And all the four have to be alive in our lives. See the wonderful comparison. As all the four brothers lived in Ramayana, these four qualities, Dharma, Artha, Kama, Moksha, all are vital in our lives. And who are the three brothers? Two die and one is alive. There they compare it to Sattva, Rajas and Tamas. Meaning, Ravana and Kumbhakarna. Kumbhakarna was always in sleep, right? And Ravana was always wanting, craving, restless. He is in Rajas. And Vibhishana was serene, calm, immersed in knowledge. So they say, only Vibhishana lives and the other two die. So, in this way now, in the first one, where Vali and Sugriva, how do you say this? So there they say, one dies and one is killed, meaning Ajnana dies, which is Vali, and Jnana is Sugriva, he lives. So this is how Ramayana teaches us the basic principles of life. So same way here, Lord Krishna, he explains the Sattva, Rajas and Tamas in the right perspective. Satvat sanjayate jnanam. Rajaso lobha evacha. See, kama and krodha are siblings. Here he used the word lobha. So lobha means kama, no, basically. So when there is lobha, there is krodha. When you want something, is greed. And if you don't get what you want, what happens? Immediately there is anger. And not that all the time everybody gets what he wants. So here a person with the Rajas temperament, he is full of lobha, the greed. And he does not know how much he needs. He just wants more and more, that's all. He doesn't even think, do I need this much? He just keeps on taking. See, there are so many people you must have seen, especially in buffet dinners, at the weddings. They go on filling the plate. And they have a choice. They can taste some, and if they like it, they can have more. But no, the moment they go to the counter, just fill up the plate. And afterwards, they like what they eat, and the rest they throw it away. So here there is no sense of understanding. There is no sense of respecting food, that we should not waste. All this is not there. Just that greed, I want. More and more. And also we have seen many a times people buy things just because there was a sale or an offer. You ask them, you said you have enough of that, what he had actually bought. They say, yes, there was a sale, so I bought. It is, they don't calculate anything else. They just say there was a sale, so I bought. So this way, this lobha is something which always keeps you wanting more and more. See, lobha is, if you actually go to see, if you see in the true sense, it is, they say, even in Gita, Trividam Narakasyedam, which are Trividam. Trividam means three things, Narakasyedam. They are the gateway to hell, Lord Krishna says. That is Kama, Krodha and Tata Lobha. This is in the 16th chapter, 21st verse. The Lord says, abandon all this. Kama filled, unfulfilled Lobha. Unfulfilled Krodha. So this way. Now, a Sattvic has Kama for moksha, for Bhagavad Prapti, for love of God, love for God. And that is, yes, he has Kama, but in the true sense. And he has Krodha also, when his near and dear ones do not join him in learning this. Now and then they get a little angry. Why? Because this is such a nice thing. Why you people are not inculcating in your life? That's all. Only to that extent they get angry, but not in any other way. And now Lobha also is hiding from everyone. We as humans, it is primarily, you may have enough, but you don't have the quality of sharing. You are hiding. And Lobha is humans' exclusive quality. See, you must have seen crows. Whenever they find something, they immediately don't start eating it. They first call every other crow. And once all the crows come, then they eat together. And even take the worst, you talk of the most cruel dogs, the hyena dogs. You know what they do? When they do this hunting, naturally the young dogs, they do the hunting. After they have finished their task, then the prey which they have actually hunted is kept there, and all the dogs, they meet up. And see how systematically they do. The eldest eat first. Then the next who come in terms of their age, first it is given to the elders. After they are completely full, then the woman, the she-hyena dogs, they eat. After the she-hyena dogs are completely fed, then the children. Then comes the middle age. Then if at all something is remaining, the youth get it, which are the ones who actually hunted it. See, in animals, this kind of a principle is followed. This is what they're trying to talk about. We have a platform to reach the Lord, but at the same time, we have strong forces which pull us down. So this is the challenge which we have. Another kind of lobha, if you have to talk about, first thing is I should have something nice. I should have a nice car. And that's okay. Up to the extent you having a car is fine. You worked hard for it and you got it. Now, when your neighbor gets a car, maybe not as expensive as you have bought, but still, this lobha, it percolates in a different way. You get jealous. How did that guy get a car? Now, he also worked hard and he got. What is the problem with you? But mind is somewhere tickled and it says, I think that fellow must have done something wrong. Some wrong means he must have earned money. Otherwise, he doesn't have the capacity to buy such a car. Now, this is that lobha again. And let's say you have got nice jewelry, nice dress and all that for your family, or your family is going to foreign trips and all that. But when you see your neighbors also going on foreign trips or buying jewelry and buying nice clothing, that jealousy what comes, that is also categorized here as lobha. So, rajaso lobha evacha. So under lobha, this kama, krodha, they are all siblings. That is what is explained over here. Now, the Lord takes us forward. He says, in the olden days, once there was a scholar, a poet, he once said, if you hoard money, that is excess money, which you don't spend for yourself, or you give for good causes, what happens? So, people take some of it and they say, the land takes some of it. Now, what you have done, you have not spent for yourself, nor you have spent for any good cause. You have hoarded it, basically. So, the Shastra says, people, meaning your relatives or some other close ones, they snatch away and some is hidden. So they say the bhumi is the earth, it takes away some. Of course, now you can always say that the IT officers or people who have taken loans from you, you don't have any records, so they eat it away. So here, they just give an example. They say, you have seen a honeybee. Constantly it is striving, it is working hard, going from one flower to another flower. It is literally bending to its best extent possible, sucking the honey, collecting it from one flower to another. Now it finally goes and deposits in a beehive. Then again it runs into the field. It again goes to a flower. Now in this way, an average bee produces about 1/12 of a teaspoon in its lifetime. Only 1/12. So a hive of bees together fly 40,000 miles, which is like more than one round of the earth, and they only collect about 400 grams of honey. Now, this bee has already enough for its life. But knowing this, how much do they last? What is their span? 4 to 6 weeks, the worker bees. But still they run and run and run, collect more and more and more. Now, here, what we should understand from nature is, like same way it is in our lives. There are so many of us who we already have what we want in life, but we are just moving aimlessly, doing the same things, not knowing that there are better things in life. Not knowing the value of human life. This is where a guru and a shastra will help in moderating one's life. Ishvara anugraha deva pumsam advaita vasana. It is only by your sheer grace of the Ishvara you get a flair to understand this Advaita Vasana means Advaita Shastra, what we are all learning. This is the highest what one can learn in human life. So we should all feel so blessed. Again and again one needs to thank. And we have to only pray to God that please don't take me away from where you have brought me. I have not come here only to taste and go. I want to have a proper meal of this Advaita Vedanta. I am not a taster here. You have to pray to the Lord. Keep this grace completely showered on me all the time, till I get the real self-experience of Thy true self. So it is in our lives, this Viveka Shakti, this intellect, how we take it further. We become the bee or we attain Bhagavad Prapti. This is in our hands. Because you have that Viveka Shakti, no? Each one of us have that Viveka Shakti. We are not laborers over here where we have to go for work in the morning and only then we are able to eat something for the day. No. In whatever we have. If God has given us this, has given this anugraha, this particular knowledge, make the best use of time to get the fullest out of this. Many may think, no, we have to do for our children. Now put a question mark, how much? Yes, that is right. We have responsibilities. So, Warren Buffett, one of the world's top class investor, now what he says, leave the children enough so that they can do anything, but not enough that they can do nothing. What happens? When you give more than enough, they think, then why do I need to do anything? Let me just keep enjoying myself. But at the same time, if you give them enough that they can do anything, meaning they have a choice in life. They need not do what you have done. So you have well protected them so they can try their possibilities in whatever they are doing and make the best use of their talent. Because today's world is not what was 30 or 40 or 60 years ago. It's a very competitive world. You have to match your skills with what you're doing. If you're not matching that, then what happens? Your performance is lower. So you can give them enough, give enough where they do anything what they want. So in this way, one has to properly understand and take your life forward. Give them good education. Values are more important than valuables. All these are required. And when you know, okay, now whatever responsibilities are there, I have completed. Now that is the time where you need to take a call and rephrase your entire life. Let me go on to the highest mode of my knowledge. So here he basically pulls you out from Rajas. Now moving further, the Lord Bhagavan Shri Krishna, he tells us, Pramada moho tamasaha bhavato ajnanamevacha. So he says, this way, this tamasic pravritti, you will become a prey to delusion and fall in the pit which you yourself have dug. How have you dug? By the theory of karma. You are doing all the wrong things. Which means, now any action which you have done goes back into your mind, and from your mind, that is the Sukshma Sharira, it goes back to your Karana Sharira, and it becomes a Vasana, a tendency. And time and again, the tendency keeps bursting out with the same kind of thoughts. That's the reason you see people have all different kinds of thoughts. It is because of their tendencies. So we all are destroying, betraying, degrading and harming ourselves without even knowing it. So here Lord Krishna says, you are blessed to have a human life. You don't know how long you will live. You may live for 10 years, 20 years, 30 years, 40 years, 50 years. You don't know. But true life is not about how many years you lived, but how many lives you have touched. When you live to touch and improve others' lives, there is a sense of selfless action, which takes you to the higher planes of birth and eventually puts you in merging with the divine. So, these are the great, intricate knowledge which Lord Krishna is sharing. Now, the same thing about the Sattva, Rajas and Tamas, it's told in a slightly different way. Because now different jnanis, Rishi Munis, they have a different approach to the knowledge. So now let's understand the same thing in a different way. Okay? Now, if one observes carefully, we can make out in our daily activities where we are, and it gives us a reckoning for us to switch. Correct? Now, if I'm in a high state of restlessness, then I need to take some deep breaths. I need to calm my mind, do a bit of meditation, and slowly move to the Sattva mode. So now, these kind of things no other text has given. No other Upanishad talks about these fine, wonderful intricacies. Only the Bhagavad Gita here Lord Krishna is giving. So, another angle which he gives to the Sattva, Rajas, Tamas, he says, like when we are chanting mantras, we say, Sam Sattvaye Namaha, Sam Rajase Namaha, Tam Tamase Namaha. Now what he says is, Sam Sattvaye Namaha. Here, the word Sattva is abstract. It basically denotes a character, but actually signifies the goodness of Sattva. Here he comes out saying, this Sattva Gun he attributes to Goddess Sri Devi. Ram Rajaso Namaha. He says this is Goddess Bhudevi. Salutations to her. And then Tam Tamase Namaha. Here he attributes this to salutations to Goddess Durga Devi. Now all the three are forms of one Devi, which is Goddess Lakshmi. Only one. The original Rupa. Rupa means the form is Mahalakshmi. The Avatara Rupa. Now this Avatara Rupa is expressed as Shri, Bhu and Durga, which are none other than Sattva, Rajas and Tamas. So that Sri Devi gives and promotes a Sattva Guna, which is knowledge. Bhu Devi, goddess of Bhumi, earth, she promotes Rajas. Basically what? Love towards lands, properties, buildings, possessions, and constantly want to travel on land. This is that Rajas activity. It takes you, I want to go to one place. Then again it says, let us go to another place. So this puts you, it is Bhu Devi. And the third one is Durga Devi, which is the Tamogun, because she wants to eventually destroy something that Jiva has to. For that if the Jiva has behaved wrongly, it takes up the task of destroying. So in this verse 17, Sattvat Sanjayate Jnanam, here they say, Sri Devi promotes Jnana. Now to know Lord Narayana, we need the grace of Sri Devi. So now what is Sri here? Normally we think as wealth. But other than that, the understanding is the one who gives greater than wealth, which is knowledge, Jnana. Another meaning for wealth is Chakshu, like your Chakshu, Shrotra, Mano, Vak, Prana, meaning your eyes, ears, mind, speech, breath. See, we don't consider all this as wealth. But here the Shastra says, imagine your life without eyes. Imagine your life without ears, without a proper mind, without you being able to speak properly, speech. And the last is breath. If you don't have breath, you are no more there. So this is the true wealth which we have in our body, which we don't recognize and which we are not grateful. So one who has all these is a true Srimant. Srimant we say, no? Meaning a rich person. Who is that? One who has all these five. So one who gives all this wealth is in the true sense a Sri Devi. So we get Jnana from the goddess of Shratva, which is Sri Devi, and then Rajaso Lobha Evacha. Bhudevi is one who creates, multiplies, grows because she is connected to the land. Bhu. And where all this growing happens. So Rajas means Raga. Ranjane. Ranjane means one which attracts. All these are required for creation. Mutual attraction between a man and a woman. This attraction, friendship, it eventually develops into further procreation. So this Ranjana, that which gives happiness. And that attraction which, like the attraction of the sky and the earth. What is the meaning of attraction between sky and the earth? The clouds which are there in the sky, they are attracted towards the earth, which fall down in the form of rainfall. Then only crops are created. So moha is created. So my land, my property, etc., mine, all this attachment. Bhudevi gives you that kind of an attachment. Once you possess, then you start trying to protect it in whatever way it is. So this is the quality of a tamas. So now in the form of three devis, now this is explained over here. Now the tamo, the last quality, the Durga Devi. Pramada moho tamasaha. Over attachment. No understanding of right or wrong. Moha. Delusion. Our Gurudev Swami Chinmayananda used to say, for moha is to say, to see a thing as something other than what it actually is. Just to see something other than what it actually is known as delusion. Like if you look at a donkey and you say it is a horse, that is delusion. So Ajnana, one is not knowing and the other is understanding right things wrongly. That is the Viparita. So all this is given by the Sri Lakshmi Durga Namaka Rupa. Sattva, Rajas and Tamas is Sri, Bhu and Durga. This is how, this is another version of explaining the Sattva, Rajas and Tamas. Now, let's come to verse 18. I'll post the shloka for you. Urdhvam gachanti sattvasta madhye tishtanti rajasaha jaganya gunavrittista adho gachanti tamasaha. Now this verse is explained with a metaphor. Sattva is like fire. Rajas is like smoke. And tamas is like wood. Like for example, Fire has the property of always looking up, going up. Urdhva mukha, what we say. You light a fire, it will never show it is going down. It always, you can see the flame going up. And next is the smoke. Smoke always goes in circles. It goes in all directions. And now wood, which is inert, you drop it, it will fall down. If you leave it, it will definitely fall down. So its nature is to go downwards. So sattva is going up mentally. It's not about literally going up. It is, you are rising higher and higher in your thought process. So rajas, again mentally, it just keeps taking you back and forth. It sometimes takes you on the right path and then again it pulls you back. You are nowhere. And tamas, it totally takes you down. So urdhvam gacchanti sattvastaha means sattva takes you to higher lives by higher thoughts. Actually, whatever we hear or read and learn, one should be able to get brighter and enlightening thoughts from that understanding. That is the sign of sattva rising in our own oneself. Urdhvam means which is going up. It's like that light. Going down means it is darkness. So as said in the 15th chapter, the first verse, Urdhvamoolam madashakam ashvattam prahuravyayam. Here is trying to explain what is the meaning of Urdhvam. And again in Kathopanishad it is said, Urdhvamoolo avashakaha. Meaning, although the word Urdhva means higher, the right understanding is moving towards the Lord. Moving towards that divine light. So when mind moves towards such light, Lord gives you that enlightening thoughts. So this going higher is towards worlds of peace and happiness. So this goddess Lakshmi, she keeps the devatas in bondage. Urdhvam gacchanti sattvastaha. Whoever are in sattva mode, they go to higher worlds. They become devatas. As soon as their punya is exhausted, then they are sent back. You can use the word thrown back also. They are again back. Bhurupa Lakshmi keeps humans in bondage in what way? On this earth. Madhye tishthanti rajasaha. Madhye, in middle. They neither go to higher worlds nor they go to lower worlds. They are in the same plane. They are again souls waiting for birth. It could be birds, animals, lower grade of humans. They neither go up nor they go down. They have always been in the rajas mode. And tamas, they are the asuras. The bad elements, which they are in lower worlds. Jaganya gunavrittistaha adho gacchanti tamasaha. Meaning one who are in such kind of lower worlds. Jaganya. Jaganya means lower. Nikrushta. Nikrushta is all lower. So like as we have even the chakras, if you see, we have the Mooladhara, Swadhisthana, Manipura, all these chakras which are at the lower level, they only promote you for basic sensual activities and your basic instincts. Only the ones which are on the higher, after you cross the Manipura, Anahata, Vishuddhi, Agnya, and then the Sahasrara, they take you to the higher worlds. So this is what in this 18th verse the Lord explains to us. Now we are getting a proper understanding of everything. You have to assimilate this knowledge and see how I can make the best use of it. And only aim is reach the Lord. Like some people may have, my aim in life is to get a nice house or get a nice car or These kind of things. Go for a nice holiday. This should not be the aim in life. Our aim should be the highest. Then the purpose of this knowledge makes sense. Now we move on to the next shloka, the 19th shloka. Nanyam gunebhya kartaram yada drushthanupashyati gunebhyascha param vetti madbhavam sodigacchati. See here, Gunebhya anyam kartaram nanu pashyati. Whatever actions we undertake in our lives is the effect of the gunas. Whatever actions we undertake in our life is the effect of our gunas. Means what? What gun in you has become prominent, strong, that will create the kind of a desire. And that desire becomes an action. And once that action is performed, again it goes back and registers in your mind as your tendency and your pravritti, and you again go in that same chakra. You will again and again be going round and round. Now, how this can be explained? Whatever actions we undertake is the effect of the gunas. I'll just give a few examples. You're going out somewhere. You see somebody carrying 2-3 bags. Elderly person. Now when you see that person carrying 2-3 bags, which are quite heavy, you get a feeling to help them. You don't know the person. Looks like you both are going towards the same place. So sometimes when we get this feeling, now you should know that you are in that sattva guna. That sattva guna in you that's only helping you to get this feeling. Sometimes you get a feeling that, why go to a temple today? Let's go for a movie. Now we need to understand here it is not our call. This thought came from helping the person came from within. Now going for a movie, overriding the temple thought comes from within. That is the Rajogun. So, same way, you must have felt that let me read a good book today afternoon or listen to a good spiritual talk, but you felt sleepy. Although the thought was good initially, but when you took the book, you felt sleepy and you dozed off. So let's read it later. Now this is the tamo guna has kicked in you. We actually are influenced by something in us, and we ourselves become a prey to what comes from within. Now the thought of reading a book or listening to a spiritual talk ended in sleeping for about 2.5 hours in the afternoon. This is nothing but the impact of the tamo guna. Now these guns which keep influencing you to do actions, where Lord Krishna said in the 3rd chapter, 28th verse, Guna guneshu vartante iti matvana sajjate. He says this, if sattva is predominant in your eyes, we feel like seeing something good. Let's say you are in front of a TV. If your sattva is predominant, you will say, let me see a Puranic serial. If Rajasic is predominant, you will say, let me see a fiction or a romantic web series or a movie. If Tamo is predominant in you, you will opt to see a horror or a murder or something of this kind. So this Sattva, Rajas, Tamas sitting in the senses provoke the mind to do a particular act. This is what we need to understand. Now, how did that provocation come? based on your past actions. So which means if your current actions start getting better and better, then you will slowly start rising higher. And you should understand that these gunas also, they keep changing rapidly, not that they are stuck. You will always have tamas, you will always have rajas, you will always have sattva. No, they keep oscillating. It is like if there are three wrestlers and one of them is winning the battle every time. It's not that all are winning, all are losing all the time, or all are winning all the time. One after the other they lose and win. If you take the story of Kamsa, after having killed 6 newly born children of his sister Devaki, he had taken the 7th child in his hand. He had held the child with the legs and he was about to swirl it and throw it on the wall. At that point, what happened? Suddenly the child escaped from his hand and it went up in the sky. And the child said, "Here comes the child which you had heard in the Akashvani, which was to kill you, is already born. Be aware." Now, Kams was in such a terrible mood of killing that child. Suddenly, they say, he started saying, "Death and life is not in our hands. One cannot be born or die the way he or she wants." And he asks forgiveness to his sister. He says, "Oh sister, I don't know what had gone wrong with me. I had my mind was in delusion. Please forgive me." Now, both Vasudeva and Devaki are shocked to see the behavior of Kamsa. A few minutes back, he had taken the 7th child and he was about to thrash it. Now suddenly he is asking for forgiveness. But now, next moment what Kamsa does is, he calls all his Sainiks, meaning his guards over there, and he tells them, "Go to each and every place in and around Mathura and kill all the newly born children." See the change? These gunas, they change that way rapidly. Sattva to tamas, tamas to sattva, of course rajas is in between. And you must also have seen, in life we come across people who are erratic. They're talking nicely, jovially, very calm, peaceful. Suddenly you don't know what happened. They talk rubbish. They get angry. So this is what the changing quality of sattva, rajas and tamas. Another example is we have Bhishmacharya, Dronacharya, Kripacharya. All by basic nature they are sattva. They are all acharyas. But most of the time they were in rajas. Because the prabhava, what they call, prabhava is the influence, is stronger than the swabhava. Swabhava means their basic nature. So that sangat, that association in which you are, it has an impact. All the time they were with the association of Kauravas. So we live our lives mostly on prabhava. Prabhava is influence, mind conditioning, and not on our swabhava, which is our nature. It's our education, our society, our friends, all these, and importantly, the genes which we carry are our swabhava, but they are covered up by prabhava. So one cannot be judged by their actions and behavior because their true nature is hidden and covered up. So here, now, what the Lord tells us in terms of, now we are understanding all this, what piece of advice does He give to come out of these 3 gunas? I don't think we have enough time. Let's move a little forward. Okay, and then we'll see how we can catch up with that. Okay, so now these three gunas are continuously, they are changing in you, they are hidden, they are covered up, and they keep exhibiting. So when we deal in the world, we should be a nirvikari. Meaning, know that no person is good and no person is bad. It is the gunas which are making them to do such kind of acts. So, there is no reason to blame a person or even like a person. So this is how a jnani looks at the world. And he treats everyone, a friend and a foe, in the same tone, because here is the secret which the Lord is sharing with us. What is the secret? Be nirvikari. Nirvikari is, don't look at the person. Look at the gun which is there, prominent in him, and according to the gun which is prominent in him, this person is behaving. This is the knowledge which the Lord is telling us. Once you become a nirvikari, you become a gunatita. So which means this maya, prakriti, gun, behind every behavior is doing the job and not the person. Don't dislike or don't like the person. Know that the gun is acting in the person. This has been mentioned in chapter 12, 18th verse. Samashatraucha mitrecha tata manapamanayoho shitoshna sukha dukkheshu samasanga vivarchitaha. What he says there? Those who are alike to a friend and to an enemy, who is always equipoised if somebody scolds him, if somebody praises him. Maybe it is hot, maybe it is cold, maybe there is joy, there is sorrow, but he is untouched by all this. Here he says, this samatva bhava one needs to have in life. And then again in the chapter 14, in the 24th and 25th verse, which we are now going to study, manapamanayos tulyaha. He says, the one who is same in the case of somebody praising him or somebody scolding him. So, how we deal to know others, that is more important. See in which guna you are. If in tamas and rajas, try to be calm, non-decisive. Don't take any decisions during that time. Come to sattva gun. Then think with clarity and take a call. Nanyam gunebhya kartaram yada drishtanupashyati. So here Bhagavan, Lord Krishna impresses on us. He says, he stresses to come to the point to become a drashta. Meaning, one who sees. He is a true seer. What do you see? One who can see what others cannot see. One who sees what everyone else sees. If one sees what everyone else sees, then he is not a drashta. Now, you look at an angry person. Everybody saw that. Every common person, you ask him, he will say he is angry. That person whom we are seeing is angry. But now you are a drashta. How are you seeing at that person? You are seeing that the guna in that person is emitting anger. The person is not emitting anger. So, if you can see a greater meaning than what is told, even in this understanding Bhagavad Gita, then you are the true drashta of the Bhagavad Gita. You have to look deeper and deeper. There are so many angles you can always think to what is being told. Look deeper. So this is the bhava. One he talks, Lord Krishna talks of being a nirvikari, and the second he talks about being the drashta. Now let's understand more of this in the next class. we'll go at more depth. This is a very important point which Lord Krishna is teaching us. We'll understand this to greater lengths during the next class. Shri Krishna Arpanamastu. Now let's take verse 26, Shri Vishnu Sahasranama, the divine names Narayana and Naraha. First, let's read the verse. Verse 26. Suprasada prasannatma vishvadrig vishvabhigbuvihu satkartra satkrita sadur jhannur narayano naraha. Verse 245. Now here, Narayana. This simple sacred word has an endless number of direct and indirect meanings, imports and suggestions. And as sage Vedavyasa seems to have explored almost all its possibilities. The first one, Ayanam, means the shelter, Ayanam. And Nara means for man. So shelter for man is Narayana. Man means Nara. Shelter means Ayanam. Now the second meaning, the term Nara implies the egocentric individuality, and a large collection of them is called Nara. And the one who is the sole refuge for the entire living creations is called Narayana. The third meaning, Nara also means Ishvara. And the elements, the tattvas, born out of him are called Nara. And one who is the controller, the regulator, the very source of all existence in these very tattvas is called Narayana. And the fourth one, Naraha, also means waters. According to the picture painted in the Puranas of the deluge, wherein the names and forms devolve themselves into their elemental waters, the Lord is objectively described as lying alone upon the waters, the eternal baby, floating upon a banyan tree, holding in his lotus hand his own lotus feet, and sucking his own toe with his lotus lips. The lotus child restfully playing upon a banyan leaf, floating upon the waters of the deluge. On such a Lord I meditate. It is in this sense we find Manu interpreting the word Narayana. In the great devotional classic Bhagavatam, we find very many suggestions digged out of this sacred name, such as the self of all bodies, the dynamic force behind matter, the witness of all good and bad. All these indicate that Sri Narayana is nothing other than the glory, Ayanam, of the self. Now about the lotus baby, there is a Sanskrit shloka for this. Karara vindena padara vindam mukhara vinde vinivesh shayanam vatasta patrasya Putesh Shayanam Balam Mukundam Manasa Smarami. To such a Lord Bala Mukunda, Manasa Smarami, I pray with all my mind. And the next divine name 246, Naraha, means the guide. Nayati iti Naraha Proktaha Paramatma Sanatanaha, one who guides all creatures strictly according to their actions, is none other than the ancient Sanatana Narayana. So here if you deeply understand, who guides according to their actions, meaning our actions are extremely important. We need to have full control on what we are doing. That is what is again and again told over here. Okay. Now let's chant the Dhanvantari mantra 3 times. Om Namo Bhagavate Mahasudarshanaya Vasudevaya Dhanvantaraye Amrutakalashahastaya Sarva Bhaya Vinashaya Sarva Roga Nivaranaya Trailokyapataye Trailokyanidhaye Shri Mahavishnu Swarupa Shri Dhanvantari Swarupa Shri 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 Aushadha Chakra Narayanaya Swaha. Om Namo Bhagavate Mahasudarshanaya Vasudevaya Dhanvantaraye Amrutakalashahastaya Sarva Bhaya Vinashaya Sarva Roga Nivaranaya Trailokyapataye Trailokyanidhaye Shri Mahavishnu Swarupa Shri Dhanvantari Swarupa Shri 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 Aushadha Chakra Narayanaya Swaha. Om Namo Bhagavate Mahasudarshanaya Vasudevaya Dhanvantaraye Amrutakalashahastaya Sarva Bhaya Vinashaya Sarva Roga Nivaranaya Trailokyapataye Trailokyanidhaye Shri Mahavishnu Swarupa Shri Dhanvantari Swarupa Shri 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 Aushadha Chakra Narayanaya Swaha. To Lord Dhanvantari, who is none other than Lord Vishnu, God of health, we offer our humble salutations and seek His grace for a healthy and robust life. Now, let's do the Sakshatkara Siddhi Yoga Dhyana with the pearls of wisdom for self-realization. Come, please make yourself comfortable wherever you all are seated. Any portion of your body which is hurting you, please see that you comfort it. Maybe you can get up for some time and again sit down. Massage that portion of the body, make it comfortable. And for the next about 12 minutes, seeking complete cooperation from your body, head, neck and spine in a straight line. Completely relax your forehead, your face, your chin, your neck. Your shoulders and arms, and your upper body and legs. Let's take a few deep breaths. As deep as you can, inhale and exhale. Now, let's start with the first phase of our meditation, Antarika Drishanuvit Savikalpa Samadhi. As a witness, observe your mind. Observe the thoughts in your mind without being judgmental. Allow the thoughts to move on, to pass by, and slowly see that the number of thoughts are reducing in your mind. Now let's move on to the next phase, Antarika Shabdhanuvit Savikalpa Samadhi. With the use of this mantra, Jnana Shakti, and you focusing on your breath, being in the present moment, Ichcha Shakti, let's meditate. So continue chanting this mantra and feel the oneness between the Paramatma and yourself. Expand your vision of awareness to the entire cosmos. Break the barriers of bondage and feel the presence of your awareness expanding to unlimited horizons. Now, being in this state of oneness, let's listen to the words of pearls of wisdom. Shri Gurubhyo Namah. All the movable and immovable you see in existence is by the union of Kshetra and Kshetriya. Know that the Paramatma accompanies the Atma, which is present in all beings, and understand that Atma and Paramatma are imperishable in this perishable body. Paramatma is equally present in every soul. All actions are performed by Prakriti and not the Atma. All the diverse living beings are a part of one Prakriti and are born by that one Prakriti, which is created by that one Paramatma. Such Paramatma, who does not have any beginning, who does not have any material qualities, this imperishable Paramatma, although he dwells in the body, he neither acts nor he is tainted. Just like space holds everything but does not get contaminated, same way the soul, the Atma, although pervading in the entire body, does not get contaminated. Just as the sun illumines the whole universe, same way the Atma illumines the entire body. In this way, the one who perceives with eyes of knowledge this subtle difference between Kshetra, which is Vikari, Jada, momentary and destructible, and who understands Kshetrajna as Nitya, Chetana, Avikari and Avinashi. And also those who understand that all actions are performed by Prakriti will attain that supreme Parabrahman, Paramatma. Hari Om Tat Sat. Antarika Nirvikalpa Samadhi, where you have completely merged with the superconsciousness. Being in that elated state of superconsciousness, Now gradually bring your awareness to your breath at the tip of your nose. Become aware of your body, your mind. Become aware of your surroundings and the place where you are seated. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Tat Sat. Shri Chinmaya Sadgurave Namaha. Together we offer today's Gita Jnana Yajna at the lotus feet of the Lord and seek His grace, His love, His mercy and protection. Our humble salutations to the entire Guru Parampara. Om Tat Sat. Shri Krishna Arpanamastu. Idam Namama. Please rub your palm. Place them on your eyes. Feel the warmth and gently open your eyes.